The Jewish and Christian archaeological world is in a tizzy right now because of a new discovery in the city of Jerusalem that they are saying and trying to prove that, hey, we own this country. We've been here. Look at what we found. We found a temple that was dedicated, that was active around the 8th century, around 800, well, not 8th century, 9th century BCE into the 8th century BCE, where then it was covered and was put out of use. And we found pottery, and we found all these other things, and we found these engravings, and we found an altar. So this proves that during the time frame of around 900 to 800 BCE, that a northern Israelite kingdom existed. And that's perfectly fine to be able to do that. But there are some things that they are not telling you. There's things that they don't want to get deeply involved, or that they kind of glaze over. You see, so they have this pottery that they are allowed to picture up, that they pictured, but yet they are missing a certain thing that they talk about within their article and within the paperwork of this discovery. And that is the fact that they also found scarabs as part of this. Now, why would an 8th and 9th century Israelites have scarabs in a place where they have an altar, in a place that was most likely dedicated as a temple to worship their God Yahweh? Why would these former Canaanites, who became Israelites, as I have explained many times, who were controlled by Egypt up until around the 1100s, 1000 BCE, and then created their own society, their own kingdom. But prior to that, they separated themselves from the Canaanites and called themselves Israelites. And as it is said in the Meneptah Stele. But why would they still have scarabs? Should they not, if they had the writings by which you claim that they had, which are exactly the same of what you have today, would they have not dispensed with having scarabs? Why would hundreds of years go by and they still have Egyptian religious motifs within their temples? It is merely because, as I've said before, and many Christians and Jews and Israelites try to come onto my lives, to which we have every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 8 p.m. on YouTube at Coach Renz 33, come on and say that the reason God separated and killed all those people in the Old Testament is because they were practicing child sacrifice and they were practicing all these pagan rituals. But yet I explained to them that the early Israelites practiced the exact same form of religion. It wasn't until later on that these changes happened. And it was during this time frame of the 8th and 9th century BCE that Hezekiah, and then followed by Jehoiakim, decided that they were going to become reformers of the Israelite religion. And during their Reformation period, they changed many of the worships. They got rid of the things like Scarab. They got rid of Israelites participating in the Moloch, participating in child sacrifice. And as they have discovered this temple, some of the things, and this was where they believe the altar was, that they then would, Hezekiah, who wanted to centralize worship in Jerusalem, and not because he was trying to be good to this God, but mainly because he wanted to make sure all the money came to Jerusalem, where he was, which was the capital. But there's 8th century, meaning 700 time frame, is when they filled these temples in order to shut them down, so that everybody would bring their treasures, bring their tithes to Jerusalem, because people had to make these annual trips for these different feast holidays and bring their tithes to Jerusalem. They had to pay the Levitical priest in Jerusalem when they had a baby boy. So he wanted all those to come there, but plus because he was taking away some of the Canaanite and Kemetic types of worship by which they were participating in. The scientists still don't know what those holes and those inscriptions actually mean. And they are completely lost on what these V shapes mean. Now, they've found a wheat press and a wine press was inside of it. and an oil press was inside of it, and they see drainage channels were in and around the altar, which is probably where the animal sacrifice and the child sacrifice was being conducted, and so that the blood would drain away and it would keep them clean, so to speak. But when they find these temples, they will make sure to keep the narrative to be as close to the Masoretic text as they possibly can, because what they don't want to admit is that the ancient Israelites participated in child sacrifice, all the other animal sacrifices, and maintained some of the Kemetic worship with scarabs and whatever the hell these V shapes mean. And that is why it is important to find out exactly what those symbols mean and what this monkey looking like thing there means, to be able to truly understand what they were participating in. But it certainly wasn't the same thing that Jewish people and Israelites participate in today. But what do you guys think? And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.